talked about the ratio and how that leads to inflammation.
Yeah, so do you guys, are you all know about that, or do you want me to do that a little? Do it time while we're cleaning up and tasting and you're chewing? Okay, because this is something that is really important. Yeah, let us know if you want more of something, because we have, okay. Just needed it.
Yeah, I like it.
That's good.
Do you have a recipe for that?
Eileen?
Yeah, here it
So
comes.
if I may just say something real quick before you talk about that.
Oh, yes, please, go right ahead.
The movie, if you guys haven't seen it,
I'll
Food
bring you another
Inc.
plate.
Yeah.
is a great sort of dissertation on that whole, the way the cattle is fed and all that and treated in general. So it's just kind of an eye-opening thing if you haven't seen it about why you might want to think about eating cattle, like if you're going to eat cattle that's grass-fed, that's healthier, and that the animals are actually treated a lot more
Humanely, right, yeah. And, yes, and again, just so that you know, because Whole Foods as a corporation is involved in a lot of things. And so we have ratings for all of our meats as to how the, I'm not going to do a good job explaining it, but we're very focused on knowing where our farmers, where the food is coming from and how it's been raised. And how it's, you know, whether it's humanely done or not. And so that's all part of how we select. I didn't get right. So, and Food Inc. and also the one I mentioned, also Forks Over Knives. They're both very good, and they're not to the point where you're like scared. You're informed, and knowledge is power, and you can do with it what makes sense for you in your life, and your lifestyle, and so on. So with omega-3s and omega-6s, these are essential fatty acids that our body needs, but we don't make them, and we really need them. And we have a lot of very good food sources of omega-6s, and we have fewer, just naturally, in our diet of omega-3s. So omega-3 food sources would be like wild salmon, walnut, many nuts. Walnuts are one of the greatest ones. Flax. I'm having a brain cramp. Oh, dark green leafy vegetables. How can I forget those? They are full of, because where does grass-fed beef get its omega-3s? From the grass. Dark green leafy vegetables are the source of omega-3s. So we can get a lot of those in, nuts, seeds, cold water fish, predominantly wild salmon, and grass-fed meats. Now, naturally occurring omega-6 sources are just more dominant. All poultry is an omega-6. All whole grains give us omega-6. And in addition to that, we have had this huge influx of vegetable oils in our diet because we have so many prepared and processed foods in the diet. And every one of those vegetable oils, whether it's soybean oil, canola, any of those, well, canola actually has a little bit of omega-3. But all the others are dominantly omega-6 in their composition. And so why is any of that important? Our body was designed to basically have the two in a fairly close, almost equal ratio because they work together. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatories and omega-6s are pro-inflammatories. Most Americans who are eating a typical American diet, this is the ratio they're walking around with, 6s to 3s. And this is a state of chronic inflammation in the body. And chronic inflammation has, the research clearly links it to heart disease, and a lot of research supporting chronic inflammation or low-grade inflammation with different terms, also as the root cause possibly for lots of diseases, and more research is going on. So it's really important to do two things. Focus on what are the sources of omega-3s in my diet and where can I continue to add them in, and what are the sources of omega-6s that I can do without and get out. So regular beef is an omega-6 unless it's grass-fed, so maybe you make a little switch there. Maybe you eat more dark green leafy vegetables all the time because you'll get a lot of benefits aside from just the omega-3s. And you know, the more of our diet, the majority of our diet that is whole food based, you're just going to automatically get more of that ratio because you're knocking out the processed and the quick and the refined, and along with many of those come all of the, you know, these sort of soybean oil and things that are in so many foods and that are just ratcheting up to such high degrees all of these levels of omega-6s in the diet. So it makes sense. There's a website called eatwild.com, and if you go on that and put in your zip code, it will give you a listing of places in your area or within a certain radius farms that produce grass-fed meats, dairy products from grass-fed animals, and so on. And then, of course, we sell those as well. So.
This will be on YouTube, right? These movies and websites, you guys can go to our website if you want to click on this after, and we'll have it up. So you can go back and reference the website and stuff if you want to.
So, you tried some new things, liked some of them?
Yeah.
And trust me, like you had that salad, that black bean salad you're eating now, you will be so satisfied for such a long time. You won't be hungry again soon. The healthy fat, the fiber, and the beans, and all the nutrients and vegetables. And you could also just, remember, I like to think most recipes, fine baking or something you have to eat, but most recipes are just a jumping off point. So, like, if you're thinking about, okay, what did I eat today and I want to get, so in this salad we used romaine lettuce, which is great. Romaine lettuce is very good. If you want to kick it up a notch, put kale in that one if you didn't have kale that day and you wanted, or some spinach, so don't feel totally restricted. Do what appeals to you.
How do you feel about
Iceberg?
iceberg?
It's kind of like white pasta. It's a delivery system for whatever you put. It's a filler. It's better than, probably a bunch of other things I could name, but it's minimal on, when we talk about nutrient density, it's down here as opposed to kale at the top, and iceberg would probably be in the vegetable leafy greens. It would be the opposite.
What else is out there?
So when you come into the store, we have in our produce department, there's signs, that all of our signs have a little thing at the bottom that says ANDI score, ANDI, and it stands for Aggregate Nutrient Density Index, and it's a way to rank that nutrient density of different vegetables. And so they all have a ranking, and kale is 1,000, that's the most, so are collard greens, Swiss chard, spinach, watercress, and then, it goes slightly down from there, it depends. So you can take a look at those ANDI scores when you're in the store.
When you pull out kale, you steam it. I just steam the spinach and the kale I haven't eaten, I eat it with.
Yeah, and
You salt it,
is it a little-
put lemon on it.
yeah, you can do both of those. Or another 2 different ways to do it is that's very tasty with any dark green leafy vegetable, whatever it is you can use a little bit if you want. If you're looking at your sources of fat that day and you're like, well, I'm doing pretty good, I'm going to use a little olive oil. So I'm not saying you shouldn't, it's just an opportunity to rethink how you're using fats in your diet. You put a little bit of garlic and olive oil in a pan and then chop up your kale, toss it in, and just do a really quick saute, not long and not too much oil. You don't need much. Matter of fact, leave a little bit of water on your kale after you rinse it, because then when it gets in the hot pan, it sautés, but it also starts to sort of steam saute. It does both. So you stir it around so it starts to wilt down a little, and then I turn the heat off and cover it just a minute, and then you've got that extra different flavor component. You can also do it without oil. So you get a pan very hot. Any pan will work. Chop up onion, put that in your hot pan. Saute it around, and they start to give off their liquid, and they start to brown a little, and then you put in your kale. And then from there, maybe a little bit of water or a little bit of a low sodium broth. So all different ways. Yeah, because it's great you're incorporating those in your diet and you're eating them, but it's probably starting to get a little boring, right? You want a little more flavor. Yeah.
I was using salad instead of lettuce.
Right, you can do that too, or incorporate it in with other lettuces and other greens. Absolutely. That's great. That's great.
If you don't like cilantro, what other kind of?
Oh yeah, I know I think it's a genetic thing. People love it or hate it. A little parsley or it's so tied in with those sort of southwestern flavors. Okay, so are we good on time? Where are we?
I have 8:20.
Okay, so you have room for a little dessert?
Oh, dessert's the best part.
All right, so this is where the fruit comes in.